What's up, everyone? All right, so we got this 72 Cutlass here. So let me give you a little background on it. So when it got here, it was rattling in the top end there. So I took my stethoscopes and kind of listened around, and it definitely sounded like it was in the top end of the engine. I took the valve covers off, looked through it. I found one broken bridge over there and one cracked one. I repaired both of those with the TIG welder. They turned out pretty good. And then I started retorquing all of them, because on these you just torque them down to, I forget what the torque spec was, but you just torque them down and that's the end of it. If you need to adjust on them, you have to change the length of the push rods or switch to an adjustable rocker, like the roller rockers, and they'll have an adjustable, I think the stud or the front of it's got an adjustable tip on it or something. But anyways, I retorqued them. On this side I noticed that, and about like 3 or 4 on that side, I noticed that it wasn't torquing. So I stopped, I came over here and tried it. One of them broke. So I pulled them out and looked. What it is evidently who's built this motor, because this motor was a rebuilt motor he bought from somewhere. And I'd say the way they do it is when you give them the core, they'll take apart the stuff, examine the old stuff in the old motors, and if the bolts are still okay or look okay to them, they'll throw them in a bin and reuse them. Well, these bolts, when you torque them, they're kind of like the head bolts like on a lot of these newer cars, aluminum head cars, where when you torque them, it's no good to reuse them because they'll stretch. That's exactly what happened here. In fact, when I pulled them out, you could see I'll try to find one as we're going through this video to show you guys, but part of the threads will look fatter where they stretch, and then the bottom part, one part will look normal and the other part will look a little thicker. And then they'll just break eventually, like they did. I had like 2 or 3 break on this side. So anyways, I replaced probably, I think most of them on this side and like 4 on that side. Repaired, I had to completely weld one bridge and then fix a crack in another on that side. Definitely got quieter when I put it back together. So I knew we was in the right area. Then I was thinking, well, maybe one of the lifters are collapsed or something like that, or just, went bad, or who knows what. After I seen them bolts, I'm thinking now they put used lifters in it. I don't know. So I let it run outside. So I'll just let it run, see if it'll pump back up. I let it run outside, and it was fuel. Yeah, it started smoking real bad out of the driver's side, and it was all just a fuel smell. So I was like, so I shut it off. I pulled the dipstick out immediately. Sure enough, crankcase is full of gas. All the oil just smells like gas. So my guess is, here's what's happened. Either, I think he said he changed his carb. Either it was the old one or this one. This one don't run like it's just dumping and dumping and dumping fuel, but still, it could be something going on there. He bought a rebuild kit for this one, but anyways, the problem is the crankcase is full of fuel. So we're gonna drain it. I got like two oil changes over there. We're gonna drain it. I'm gonna change these valve covers out because they still leak. But first of all, we're gonna drain it real quick. I got another carb, we'll try to find it. We'll probably maybe try to stick it on for now, just to see if the problem's resolved. And if nothing goes in it with that first oil change, we'll put this back on and see if it stays that way. If it does, then we know we're good there. I might even take the top off this one and check it inside, make sure there's no dirt, like sticking in the needle and seat or something in the bowl or something. We'll check it out. So right now we're gonna go ahead and jack it up, get the oil changed out in it, and start there and see what we got going on, if we can get it quieter. My guess is the oil is just so thin, it's going right past the piston rings. The couple of the lifters ain't staying pumped up because of it, whatever. I hope none of them's ruined from it, but we'll do that first. Also, he had somebody replace a bunch of stuff in his front end, I think everything. They ruined all of it. They heated up a bunch of the bushings to get them in, they're ruined. He said the car just all floaty around the road, so we're gonna put a new front end underneath this car, probably ball joints, bushings, whatever we find that's bad, we'll replace it, and then we'll align it up for him nice. And I think the back brakes and maybe the rear end or the gearing in the rear end or something like that. And I think the tranny's leaking. So a couple things we're gonna be doing on this. Let's start there. Let's get this raised up, get the oil changed on it, and we'll start from there. Smells like straight fuel. Yeah, I was gonna do it over there, but then I was like, the Galaxy's running, I'll just pull it out and pull this in there. Why not? This stuff is, yeah, that is straight fuel, guys. I mean, just fuel. There's so much gas in that. I'm hoping, well, we'll see. I am hoping that didn't ruin them lifters by that. Let's let that drain for a minute, and I'm gonna pull this filter off too. I love these filter. I got the jet, or the ones you put on the end too. That line's right in the way of that filter. Man, you wouldn't believe this stuff. I mean, look at it, it's still coming out, just dripping out, just. It's so slippery. It's just like straight water. Look at that. I mean, there's no thickness to it at all. It's just coming out like straight, like gas. Ooh-wee. Look at that, you guys. That was, I took that drain plug and the filter off 4 minutes ago, and it's still doing that. So it's coming down from the top of the engine, I'd say, just through the, you know, the heads, wherever it's sitting. I'm gonna let it drain for a while. We'll kind of see where we're at with it. I'm gonna try to get a time on this, and that way we can see how long it's still gonna drip. I'm gonna move some parts around from in here to there and bring his parts into this room. So we got him here with us. So while that's draining, I'll bring you guys back here in a few. All right, guys, that was about 12 minutes after we talked, or I did the last thing. It just got done dripping, and it stayed kind of steady there for at least 7 minutes. So hopefully we got a lot of it out. I think I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try to find that other, let me see if you guys can see in here. I think I'm gonna go ahead and try to find the that other carb I got. Get this one off. He's got new valve covers and gaskets. I'm gonna get those off and replace them now. Actually, no, I better not, in case we gotta take those off to work. So we'll fill it up with oil. Let me go see if I can't find another carb real quick. Hang tight. All right, guys, I had a carburetor. I went ahead and just bolted it on real quick. Nothing to it, 4 bolts in the throttle linkage. He does need a lock nut on that throttle there. You can't tighten it because it'll stiffen up, so it needs a lock nut on it. Other than that, everything's the same because they're both Edelbrocks. I got the oil in it. Let's fire it up and let it run and see. I know this carburetor was okay, so that's why I wanted to just put it on there while we run this new oil through it. We're gonna have to do this a couple times, but let me hook the battery up. Got a leak. I don't know if it's that. Let me get I don't think it's that hose. Let me grab a wrench. I don't think we had that off. And a rag for this stuff. Hang on a second. Okay, I'm not sure what part was leaking. So I got his inlet, his gasket. Well, okay. Let's go ahead and cut this hose back some with the sometimes crappy cutters. You know what? Let me find a longer hose, guys. Okay, this is the hose that came off the Galaxy. So let's give it a little bit here. And it'll all have fresh ends on it. This clamp here is kind of big, but we'll manage for now. If it all works out good, I may talk them into doing that same thing that we did on the Galaxy with that braided line and the fitting that comes out. That's a really nice setup. All right, let's try it again. I think we got it. Hopefully that thing pumps up. I think it may be starting to. I know that carburetor works better than the other one. You can hear that clattering, guys. I don't know. Belt's a little loose. All right, guys. We're going to switch these valve covers out. Not sure how much it's going to help us, but I told him to try to stay away from the chrome. The chrome is almost a leak waiting to happen, or it will happen. It's that simple. I'm serious. I mean, it looks shiny when you clean it up, but it just leak. Even with me gluing my gaskets the way I do, it's just inevitable. Hopefully I ain't messing with this mic too much, guys. I'm gonna try to move it up some. Hang on, here in a minute. These bolts. And another thing that would help if these was studded, so the gasket can actually lay on the head. You know, you can kind of glue it down to the head so it doesn't, you know, it's kind of the same thing. I glued it to the valve cover, but like I said, we'll see. And he got Edelbrock chrome ones and Edelbrock gaskets, which those are good gaskets. Edelbrock's got a nice gasket. I like it. I'll show them to you here. But we glued it to the valve cover already with our preferred way. I usually take a magnet and get ready for these things because they fall. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Now these, I've already had off once and I've already glued once, and they are still leaking all over the head. It's just, I think they warp. I don't know what the chrome does, but, and there's really no good like sealing area. It's like, I don't know. I'm not a fan. Just like chrome valve cover or timing. I'm sorry, thermostat housings. They never seal. Yeah, I mean, look how much I got this glued on there, guys, and it still leaks. That's how much I tried and tried to get it to stop, and it won't. I'm telling you right now, it won't. You may get lucky, but that's the end of it. I mean, look, and they've been on and off a few times. This here's got a little tear. That's probably where it's leaking at. But I'm gonna clean that up. Let me show you the other ones. Hang on. Let me go around and make sure we got the surface okay. I don't feel anything on it. I'll show you now that we got the valve cover off. The two that I fixed, yeah, they turned out good. They break all the time, guys, like I said, and you don't know what these guys that are building these motors use. You really don't. How much used stuff, how much, new stuff, you just don't know. You'd like to think you're buying something that has, new parts, all new parts, but it ain't that, unfortunately. Just like I try to tell people, when you buy a new car and they say it's all leather, it's not all leather. Usually the backs of the seat ain't. There's a bunch of areas that ain't leather on them. I'm gonna spray that down once we get. All right, let me show you. Probably have to use that over there. Hang on. First, let me show you. So this is the one that was busted. Sorry, I get my fingers out of there. That's the one that was busted, and the very back one was cracked. The crack was underneath, but I welded it and cleaned it up, grinded them up. That's holding real well. Nothing's wrong there. It's all still in good shape, but it's all looking good in there. It's just, yeah, it's a new motor. Okay, here's these. It's the Edelbrocks, and I already glued the gaskets, and these are nice gaskets, guys. I am going to put a real thin, just a thin of the right stuff around there. Just like a smooth thin, nothing that's going to bulge out of it or anything. So if we got to take them off, it'll still be a part of the gasket, and we can just wipe it down and maybe apply just a teeny bit more. But we'll see what happens here. I had this running for a little bit yesterday, and nothing really. It did quiet down some, but it didn't go all the way away. So we'll see. I don't know what's going on yet. I wanted to stop this leak. We'll go drive the car, come back, change it again, put the Lucas additive in it, and then go drive it again and see what happens. That is still the other carburetor on there. We're gonna rework his. But for now, this one is working good. There's not a bunch of fuel dumping in the motor. We'll go test it with this one. As I said, guys, a thin layer, and I just smoothed it out. I smoothed it out with my finger, just real thin. Nothing elaborate. Let's go ahead and get this side on. See, and this is nice because your gasket won't move on you. You can get it fit. There's a lot of brackets and stuff in the way here. A lot of things in the way. We want to make sure it stays in place. Okay, on this top one here, I try to get it in the hole with the magnet, and then I'll slide the magnet away from it, put my socket on it, and get it going. All right, so we'll run these down by hand, so it's hopefully as even as it's going to let us get. I'll continue to not like chrome forever, guys. I'm sorry. It's just so problematic. Sorry, guys, my phone rang. It was my son telling me to cut the Indy race on. They went to the Indy race today. Let me slide this up. Hold on. Okay, I wanted to make sure I wouldn't hit my mic. All right, so I'm gonna start bottom middle, give it a snug, so where it feels like it's not real tight, and keep working my way out. I'm gonna try to just hopefully snug this thing down, and hopefully it seals. I hope. Boy, do I not like these. You're gonna get tired of me saying that. We know you don't like them. I wish they was studs though. That might help the situation a little bit. And notice I'm just using a 1/4-inch drive, guys. I don't want to torque it, over torque it, because a 3/8 drive will over torque it. So this is probably going to be it. As far as tightening, I may just go around snugging now. And you can see as I'm going around, they're already loose again. These valve covers, they twist and bend more than the cast ones. Look at that. That's all the way loose. Like we never even tightened it. I can't get on this bottom one. It's so hard. Let me go to this one. Yeah, they're all like we never even touched them. Hopefully it seals and it ain't gonna come back off. And like I said, I'm not tightening hard. I'm just going to where it feels like. My hands may look like that because they're big, but all right, real quick ones now. See, look at that, loose again. Snug. Man, I hope these seal. Wow. Snug, snug. Like we never done them. Let me get her this time. Now I'm to the point where I'm just stopping. All we can do is hope they sealed. Because I think I'm going to be done after this. If it didn't seal by now, all we're going to do is push that gasket out. And it's probably, should be okay. All right, let me pop the other side off. I'm not going to make you guys watch that again, so. All right, guys, we got it fired up. I think I'll show you when we get back, but I think our noise, the majority of the noise, the rest of the noise, has something to do with the flywheel and the torque converter. It all looks tight, but it sure is wobbling and the noise is loud down there, so I'll show you when we get back. But like right now, I can't hear anything. So we'll see how it is when we get back. And we'll see how the valve covers are holding up. Huh, it's shifting in first. Maybe that's where you gotta be at. Oh, I think this thing's shifting on its own. I didn't move that lever and it's already moving up. I've never drove this, so I'm just gonna go a short distance and come back. But I want you guys to see I'm taking it for a little drive. But give me a second, it's hard to do all this with the camera in my hand and no gimbal or nothing. All right, guys, this thing won't go 55 miles an hour and it's all over the road. That guy really did do a number on this front end. It's shaking, wobbling, going all over the place, so I'm taking it back. The car runs great. It's got good power. Ooh, that front end is scary. Real scary. Speedometer don't work, but yeah. I'm taking it back to the shop. When I get it up in the air, I'll bring you guys back. Alright guys, we're on the lift. I want you guys to see this. Our noise is right here. Look at that. I don't know how much you can see that. Something is wrong there. And I'm going to shut it off and show you something else. I mean, it sounds like all the noise is right here. And also, I noticed there was no PCV valve in this motor. He's got a major power steering leak. And, oh no, that and the oil's still leaking. No, I think that's the oil still. So let me shut this off. I told you, you guys can't not seal these things. And I mean, I've done it as right as I could. Let me shut this off. Look at this, you guys. You can see it right there, right on the corner of that head. Sorry, it's going to keep getting my finger. And I just cleaned these with brake clean and sprayed them all off. And it is just still leaking. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I don't know what to tell them. I really don't. Okay, we'll deal with that later. So, there's something going on right there at the transmission. We definitely got a noise there. It's definitely wobbling. What I was going to show you guys while it was still in the air is the flywheel bolts going into the crank. They're almost touching the block. In fact, when the car's off and you look, I bet I can't stick a 5/1000 feeler gauge between the bolt threads and the edge of the block. So with that wobbling and that being how it is, we might have a hit there. Won't know until we get it off and get the bolts out and look at the end of them, because I can't see them. I can't see the end of them the way it is down there. But they are sticking way out of the end of the crank. The noise, we definitely got a noise there. I don't see it being like a rod noise or something like that, because it's not, at higher RPMs, it's not there. Or, I mean, you'd think it would get louder anyways, and it doesn't. So, you know, the exhaust is probably overpowering it. Or it's smoothing away, I don't know. But this here, I told them, don't buy no more chrome valve covers. I don't even know what the other side looks like. I mean, guys, I didn't even tighten these things much. And now if I go, this side doesn't look bad. But now if I go trying to tighten that thing, I can't tell, no, I think we're good there. Yeah, now if I go trying to tighten that thing, we're gonna have an issue. It's gonna bust the gasket, it's gonna split it, push it out, whatever. Another thing, I think I just said it a minute ago, no PCV valve. Okay, so what's going on, I think, is too much positive crankcase pressure. no PCV valve at all in this motor. So one of these breathers are going to have to come off, maybe that back one over there, and we're going to have to put a PCV valve in it just to relieve the positive crankcase pressure. And that could be what's going on over here. It could be too much pressure inside the motor. And these ain't, you know, and he's got, I noticed he had tape around these things to keep them in there. And they're in, I took the tape off this one and it's pretty snug in the grommet. So my guess is it was popping out on them because of the pressure after the motor got so hot. And, you know, but like I said, this one, I had the pull on that. So this one is, he has tape on the other one. I didn't take it off. I bet you it's pushing them out of the motor when they're sealing good, and the gaskets are sealing good. It's got to come out somewhere, so it's probably pushing those out of the block. And now that he has them taped and we can't push them out, who knows what it just done to this gasket is my guess. So I'm gonna let it cool off. We'll have to take that back off and look at it, but I need to talk to him and let him know that the trainee's got to come out, and that needs something done. And there's a leak in the trainee. I think it's the front pump seal and pan gasket for sure. So either way, it's got to come out. It does need back brakes. There's no brakes, and that front end, wow, guys. But look at that. Here's one of the seals that guy done. He heated on them, supposedly. Let me see if I can't get you that. Look at that seal. Let me try to zoom in some more. He heated on them things and literally messed up every, and these are brand new. These are all brand new. Supposedly he said he had a press and all the right tools. He took it over there, and this is what he got when he picked it up. So it's wobbly, it's shaking, it's doing all kind of stuff. I don't even know if I should have checked. I don't know if the tie rods are tight, the ball joints, who knows what's going on underneath there. But that's going to have to be a day's worth of work there. But first thing I want to do is get the oil leak fixed and the training leak and the noise down there, and that's so the mechanical part of it's finished. We're going to go through his carburetor. Sorry about the compressor, guys. We're going to go through it. We got a kit. I got to get some metering needles and jet kit, so when we adjust on this carburetor, we can get it perfect on his. They go right here. So what you do is you take these out, you unloosen these, the plates turn over here, and then you got a metering needle with a spring in it, and the jets are down in the bottom of it. So when you gas on it, it's for air fuel mixture and your jettings in there. And you could change the springs to adjust to what we'll do it with the vacuum gauge to see where we're at with everything. But I'll show you guys all that when we're doing it, so we can get the carb precisely adjusted to his motor as what I have to do to the Galaxy too. I got to do the same thing to it. These carburetors are nice carbs, guys. They're easy to work on, and 9 times out of 10 you bolt them on out of the box and they're ready to roll. But when they sit around, they get stuff built up in them, any carburetor. But these are good carbs. They're good carburetors. So all right, I'm gonna let this thing cool down. As I said, I'm gonna call him, talk to him, start getting this exhaust off, getting the trainee out of it, and getting going on that because it needs to come out. So all right, bring you back as soon as I get going on the next part. All right, guys, I got the trainee out. On top of loose bolts, cross-threaded bolts, I went to start to go pull this flywheel bolt off, and it's just like cross-threaded. So watch this. So I don't know if it's where it was hitting the edge. I don't know. It's just something's weird about down here. I don't know what. I think the flywheel's bent maybe. It's just like, yeah, every one of these bolts have, the end of them are like where it's cross-threaded or hitting something. They shouldn't be going in like that. I think those are bent. I think these are bent, guys. They're hot because I just took this all out right when we got back. Get off there. Oh man. I got a pry bar. Hang on. Oh, that was good. I just cut my thumb pretty good. I am not sure what's going on here, but I think this is bent. We'll put it on something to see. I think that ring gear is bent, and I gotta find out where or what was going on here. Something was hitting somewhere. The teeth on the starter have a little bit of, oh man, that even scratched my thing. Yep, I got a nice cut on my thumb, nice cut on my forearm. Let me get this to stop real quick, guys, and then we'll try to figure out what's going on here. I think that that flywheel's bent. Something is bent. Something is making noise. Just the way, even the way the flywheel came off from the torque converter, it was like one or two of them was, the bolt was tight, but it wasn't tight against the flywheel, if that makes any sense. So whether it was rattling there, whether, let me get this to stop. I keep on rambling. Give me a few. Okay guys, here's what I figured out. So from everywhere I've read, the weight goes towards the torque converter, okay? The problem with it is, it hits, no matter where you line it up, it hits the ear. Something's been hitting this regardless the whole time. So the flywheel's on, not flat, okay? Another problem, and this is the way it goes on because it only goes on one way. The bolt holes will only line up, the bolt holes will only line up one way. You can't flip it that way. None of them line up, so it goes on this way. Next problem is all the crank threads have some sort of cross thread in them, so we're going to retap all those. I'm going to take you over to the lathe real quick and show you what I'm doing about this problem. So if you remember, let me try to get that focused. There's how long I got them now. Before, that bolt was hitting, and I'll show you where it was hitting at when I take the flywheel back off. If you can see it right in there, how far away it is now. And we'll put some Loctite on that. So we're cutting the bolts down, running a die over those because they're cross-threaded too. We'll run a tap through these. We're going to clean up where this sits against the torque converter so it fits flat. And what else? I think that was it. Let me take you over to the lathe. I'm going to show you how I'm cutting these bolts down. And because this phone's, I got to charge it in between things here. I forgot to charge it last night, so I'm trying to talk fast here. So, all right, let's go over here and I'll show you how we're cutting these down, and then we'll go through the rest of it. So yeah, we had several issues there, guys. And you guys seen it wobble, and I'll show you right where it was hitting against the block. It was shaving it. So give me a few. All right, guys, I got a bolt chucked up in there. I'm taking it off 0.25, so roughly a quarter of an inch, okay? I'm starting with this, and all I'm doing is just doing this here to make my line, because it's chucked in here, but you can run it out of here. You can push it. So I'm just doing this first to mark it, getting that out of the way, and then I'm finishing it with my cutoff wheel. I don't know why that's so wobbly. The last one cut like a charm. Okay, then I'm taking my, just to smooth up the front of it a little bit. Okay. Then, and if you're asking yourself, why didn't I just chuck it up on this outer tooth? Because I have better luck with chucking it up back one tooth, maybe even three if the bolt's long enough when I do stuff like this, because it'll, like I said, it'll, and I do have a collet system, but I don't want to change my whole thing over and put the collet chuck on. So, being lazy, and this is just quicker. It didn't take but a second to cut it off with the cutoff wheel, so it ain't hurting anything. So this is 7/16 20 pitch. Like I said, these all have been cross-threaded, and that's because of the way everything was put in in a bind, and they just tried to run it on and tighten it however they could. And that's the problem that we had from it. Okay, that one's done. Now, I'm going to charge that foam for a few, but look, turned out nice, looks really good. I'm going to do the rest of them. I'm going to charge that foam for a few in the meantime, and then when I bring you back over there, we'll run a tap through all the crank. I already did one, and then we'll clean up that weight so it fits the torque converter perfectly. So give me a few. Okay, I've already done 5 of them. So all I'm doing here is just cleaning the threads. I'm not trying to cut new ones. So make sure you start it good. Don't try to put it in an angle. You can feel it right away that you know, there's burrs in there. There's been some cross threading going on. It's not super hard, but I can feel resistance. I'll show you how you want any bolt to go in. And if it ain't going in like that, okay, that's against the crank. It's going to be muggy today. Right here. These are the ones we just did. Look at that. That's how you want them to go in, guys. Now let me show you how much they stick out. Well, I showed you with the other one. Let's see the. I'll show you with all of them in there. Hopefully. Got so much stuff underneath here. Where we at? Right there. Perfect. Like I said, we're going to put Loctite around those, torque them down to the correct spec, and there's our flywheel. All right, now let's. And I've read on a couple of forums, a few people had problems with that, with this weight hitting, you know, the edge of the where I showed you guys. So let me pull it off there, and I'll show you where it's hitting it, and then we'll clean it up a little bit to make it fit flat. Okay, weight side in. So I'm going to try to line up my other ones. Now, if we try to go, if you're saying why don't you move it over to the other holes, you can't. First of all, they don't even line up, and it wouldn't work. So okay, there's that one, there's that one. Now the top one is not, if you look at the hole, look how we're halfway even. So you got to put that weight on top of the converter. Now we're gapped away from it. These two down here are flat, that one's again away from it. Listen, hear that? Okay, so all I'm going to do is try to just grind some of these corners off a little bit, and maybe even clean that some, just a tiny bit. I don't know if they put the weight on wrong or too close this way, because if you look down here, look how close it is to this hole. Sorry, look how close it is to that hole, and they could have went that way just a hair, and it would have fixed the whole problem. So, like I said, I'm just going to clean it. I don't want to throw it off balance, which I don't know if that's going to matter with this one, but if you're asking yourself, there's still plenty of weld there. Back up here. Okay, lined up. That's it, guys. That's all we needed. And it's flat. Yep, it is flat. No more. In fact, right there is where the weight starts again. So we're good to go. Line these up, make sure. Boom, boom, boom.
The boom, boom, boom.
Flat against it. No gaps. All right, we're good. I'm going to get some stuff cleaned up. Let this phone charge for a little bit. I got to run into town real quick. Oh, let me show you this while this is off. Try to get a light up here. Hopefully we can see this. If you look, let's see. How am I going to do this with this? Oh boy, we may not get to see this, guys. Let me see. Right back there, you see that? Right. I'm going to get the light again, but let me show you real quick where to look. Right there, where my fingertip is. That whole gouge. And that's exactly where the bolt came through. Look at that. I mean, it literally shaved the block. It just shaved the crap out of it. Let's see if I can focus that better. Look at that. I mean, that was definitely hitting, guys. Definitely hitting. All right. I'm going to clean that up, just this area a little bit. Get our stuff ready. Let these phones charge. Like I said, I got to run out of town, grab a few items. I need to get a PCV valve, a hose for this thing. I think a T. A couple other things, and we're going to go ahead and rechange the oil in it again, and then we'll put this whole bottom back together. We got to weld this exhaust. Let me show you that. So where the exhaust came together here, they didn't clamp it, they welded it, both sides, and they did some kind of a little mini H-pipe type thing in it. I don't know who did this, but anyways, we got to weld those back up. So we'll have to tack them and then drop the back down so we can get our weld up top, but we'll clean all this up before we do it. So let me get this stuff going here, guys, and I'll bring you back as soon as everything's on the ball. All right, I got these torqued down. It's the total torque was 64, okay? And it tells you to start out at 20, 40, then 64, and in a star pattern, but go through those stages. I did all that. If you listen, you hear that? So that weight has some slop in it right here. So what I'm going to do is give her a little tack weld here, maybe here and there. I don't know. Just something quick, just so it's not moving or, you know, flapping around on us. See what I'm on here. That should be good. All right, we're grounded. Get my glove on and then get my groove on. I'm going to grind that down some. Let's get one down here. I'm gonna hit those down. See, now it's just the same as that. We're not loose anymore. All right. Hang on, I'm gonna put this wind this welder up. Slow down. All right, I got a new seal for this. We're probably gonna make a little mess here. Well, let me make sure this thing's on the jack correctly. I don't want it flipping back. I can't tell if I'm on the tight end of the stroke. Let's see here. There we go. I just don't want it flipping backwards when I pull this converter out. Okay, we'll get some floor dry on that. Let's hope that's the right seal. It looks like it. All right, let's get our seal tool. Pop that out. You guys have seen that in my other videos. If you haven't, go back and watch it. That means you ain't watching them. Here's my Band-Aid from that cut yesterday. Boy, that's all the way off. I just wanted to protect it a little bit so I don't scratch the crap out of it. All right, let me go find a something that's going to be evenly hitting on that. Give me a second. I'm going to check this on this converter just to be safe. Oh yeah, we got a good grip. Okay, now, I don't really have anything. I could probably make something, but I'm going to try to go around this thing real easy. Try to feel where these are so hard to do without they're not hard, they're just, you got to get them started correctly. I had a pipe, a bar, that had a flat end on it where you can hit on it, but I went and looked at it. I looked for it, I couldn't find it. I think we got it good. Alright, now the fun part. Let's get our converter back in it. Hope I don't rip my finger anymore. I did put some floor dry down. Sorry guys, the phone rang, but I think I got it all the way in now. I think we're all the way in. Okay, let's go ahead and get this thing back up in here. Let me show you guys. So there's a cable right here, and I'm not sure what it was for, but it's just hanging down here. I'm gonna try to find out what that is so I can get it out of there. I think it's an old shift cable, I think. I'm gonna push it up there, that way it's out of the way, and then once we get to the top of the engine, we can get it out of here. If it's not in use, why have it down here, you know? Okay, I'll see it, because I gotta take that valve cover back off anyways. And all right, let's get this thing back around here. Now that I've made a better mess, I gotta watch my dipstick. I don't want to pull it out. I already have one of the lines leaking. I think I got it past that head. And make sure. Yeah, I believe so. Get these things. Vacuum line. Yeah, they're pretty close right there. Let me try to start this line here because it's leaking and I don't want to keep on letting it leak. Just if I can get it started. It'll cut back on the leakage. I gotta turn that this way. Once again, finger start all these. Do not force them because you will have a replacing ends, you name it. Okay, I think we're close. We're right there. I think we're on it. Yep, we are. Okay, first thing though, I want to get this thing back in, this shifter linkage, and I believe, you know what, let me just take it off of here. All right guys, let's get these bolts started. We are all the way against the block. Yep, we're all the way against it. We'll get these tight, and then we'll get our converter bolts back on and keep on rolling with it. I got a gasket coming today after 3. I've already noticed that, so we got our seal in it. Hopefully that finishes the remainder of the leak, because that thing leaked out just sitting around in the shop, a bunch of the fluid. So, all right guys, let me tighten these up. I'll bring you right back. Okay, I got the first 2 tight. I'm gonna drop it down some so we can reach the rest of these. Here's how I do the top ones, guys. Get your bolt in there. Let's go fishing. Just like that. Some are easier, some are harder. But they all, long extension, swivel. You gotta use a wobble. Use a wobble with it. The more the better, whatever gets the job done. Okay, let's get, now the other one, I gotta feed it with the dipstick. So that's why I had to do the one below it first, because that covers that hole. so I had to wait and do this one last. I wanted to show you guys how I did this. I don't show it all the time, but there you go. I know it took a little time here, but I'll try to edit it out some. I just wanted to show you guys how I fish them up. Sometimes I'll put a piece of black tape inside of the socket to hold the bolt tighter. Okay, if they're not staying in it. Okay, that's all of our bolts. All right, let's get our cross member and put it in. I already got the line started. I'll tighten those up here in a second once we get this tranny jack out of the way. Let me go grab it. Okay, I believe that went right in there. I think I had to get like way in that corner to get this side started. It was kind of a pain in the butt here. You know what? I gotta move my transmission jack forward. So let's let it down some. Thought I had a hammer down here. About lined up. Trying to find where I think that was right there. It's gotta go this way some. Let me go grab some screwdrivers, guys. Okay, right there. Now, what did I do with my 2 Ds? That ain't it. Where are we at? I thought that was it. Evidently not. Maybe this one. This is way too big. Yeah. Let me run them on and I'll find the... I don't want to tighten them all the way yet. All right, let me get this, since I'm just going to put my end bolts in and tighten those up and tighten these up and get the jack out of the way, and I'll bring you back. I knew it wasn't right. And I don't know what I've done with that one. Thought I had it all out here. All right, we can let that down actually. Let me find the right socket for that, guys. All right, I figured since I have all these tools out to get these torque converter bolts in, I got one more to tighten here. Yeah, that's a finicky situation there. You gotta set that perfect.
Very careful now.
To miss that weight, even after what we did. I don't know why Oldsmobile did it this way, unless they just, I mean, they could have, I don't know. I'm sure there would have been 100 different ways you could have done that, instead of putting it right by the way of the holes. Or make the backside of the plate with a step out on it, like most flywheels have. That don't. These are just flat. So, but we got it on there. It's flat now all the way around. We're good to go. I got to figure out why this thing was not good last time. There's something going on with it here. I'm not sure. That wire. So the thing is there, the spinneroonie. I just don't think they had it screwed on there because it was just sitting on there. Man, I hope these threads ain't boogered up. They sure look like it. God, I like to stress that so much, man. Don't force nothing on. If it ain't going straight with your fingers, it ain't gonna go with the wrench. Not unless you want a nightmare or mess something up good. Okay, I think we got it this time. I'm wondering if I gotta, see, I mean, a little bit of effort, I got that going almost all the way. In fact, I did have it all the way with my fingers. We just need to snug it down with some pliers. Maybe his speedometer will work now. Let me grab some pliers, hang on. Okay, good. I think he'll have a speedometer now. All right, let's get this linkage back together. There's not much here to watch on this linkage, guys. What it is this. This just bolts up to the pan. I gotta get it back in here. I should have probably done that without that in the way. This cable, oh, I just hit it again. Golly, man. I'm hitting that thing left and right today. That cut. Anyways, I'm gonna feed that back through there.
He's very upset.
Get all that linkage hooked up. The lines are tight, the converter bolts are in, and I'll bring you back. I gotta get a wire tie for this vacuum line here. And I'll bring you back when we're putting the drive shaft in, and we gotta get the exhaust tacked and welded, so, and then we're done. So give me a few. I gotta go back some more. The welder right away. Hope I can get it with this. Yeah, should be able to. All right, listen up down there. I think we got it, guys. Can't really tell. I think it is. All right, guys, we're gonna have to put these back on because it's you can't hear nothing. So here we go. Let me turn that fan. It's blowing right all the gas. I'm gonna have to drop that down to get the rest of that. Woo! That is hot. All right, let me buzz this other one up real quick. All right, guys, I got everything back together except for the drive shaft. Got the exhaust welded up, got it back on, got it tied up there, linkage is back on. This bracket, it wasn't wide enough to go into that hole, so they just put the bolt over the top of it. But when I change the pan gasket, I'm going to make a new piece for that, so that works correctly. Got the speedometer cable back on it now correctly. Get ready, a thunderstorm, guys. Let me let the car down, we're going to start it real quick. All right, guys, let's give it a fire up and see what it sounds like. Hopefully that exhaust sounds better. I got this wheel chocked front and backwards, so not bad. Got a little lifter clack. Yeah, it's going away, but the bottom one's gone. The real loud one, I can't hear it no more. I think what we'll do is we'll get the drive shaft back in it, start it up, warm it up. I ordered some more valve cover gaskets for it. They'll be in after 3 today. It's about that time. This site's got a really good leak on it, so I think what we'll do is change this, pick up the parts, get this gasket changed again. I'm going to try something different on this side. I bought a PCV valve for it. We'll get all that hooked up and we'll run it for a minute, warm it up, drain this stuff out, and go ahead and put the oil that's going to be in it, and I got some Lucas additive for it, and then we're going to go drive it and run it for a while, see if we can't free up. What I might do is, before I drain this, is pour a little sea foam in it to try and loosen up if there's any dirt or something in there that got hung up in one of these lifters, because it's kind of going in and out now. That used to be so loud and non-stop, it wouldn't go away. It was real loud, so it's definitely 10 times better. I'd say if he just drives it's gonna, it'll probably end up going away, especially once we do all the oil changing and the additives, and we'll run that little seafoam through it. I need to tighten this belt up. That thing is squealing big time. All right, I'm gonna go down to the parts store, pick up them gaskets, and then I'll be back, and because we got to change the pan gasket too. Be back with you guys as soon as I get to that point. Oh, by the way, if you guys just watched when the car was coming down, I think I figured out how to do object now, where it just followed the car. So that worked out pretty cool. Just want to let you guys know that. All right, guys, let me start this way. So we got all this stuff back in, got the pipes welded up. I took it for a spin. Everything looks pretty dry under here. The valve cover on this side was leaking again pretty bad, what you guys seen, but it quit after I put a PCV valve in it. But I went ahead and changed it out today anyways, because it did have a little bit more still coming back from that back corner. The back corner up here, straight up here in the back. This side's good, but we may end up changing it. The brakes, I put back brakes and drums on it, so shoes and drums with all the hardware kits. I didn't want to bore you guys with that. Now, it felt a little funny from before, and I rebled the system. Well, this line, let's see if we can get it this way. Oh, right, that line right there. Right there. See if I can get it focused. That one right there. She blew up on me and started leaking. So, and that's the one that goes to right up there. It's hard, you can't put this nowhere to get, it's up here. It's a where that line comes in and this line comes in, and then it bolts down to the rear end. So here's the line. Let me zoom out. So there's the line. We're getting ready to put it on, rebleed the brakes. Luckily, Advanced Auto Parts is the only person that had that. O'Reilly's, nobody could even get it. So it would have had to have been through OPGI or off the internet somewhere. Luckily, they had it, so I got it today. It was just under 30 bucks. So I'm gonna pop that off. Get it put on real quick, and then we'll rebleed the brakes. I'll bring you back here when we're bleeding them. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Changing the line out is just a line on each side of this, and the single one coming in right there. So, and I can't get the camera nowhere under here. So, give me a little bit. I'll swap it out, and I'll be back shortly. All right, guys, there's the old brake line. We got it on. So the part where the main line comes in, I had to heat that a little bit to get that. I was going to tell you guys, if you got a stubborn line, always use a line wrench. And if you got a stubborn line and ain't breaking loose, and you've tried penetrating oil and nothing's getting it, put a little heat to it, because when you break one or twist one of them, then you got a whole nother thing going on. So anyways, we got it changed out pretty quick. So here's my, this is a, it's a pressurized bleeder. So you fill that up full of your .3 or .4, whatever you're going to use in whatever vehicle, whatever it takes. And I've got a whole bunch of different, there's a whole bunch of different fittings that came with it. This one I think came from Jegs. But anyways, if you look down in there, those chains and hooks, that's what they give you to tie these things around the master cylinders with. And man, do they leak. You cannot get it to seal. So I tried and tried yesterday. This is another day today, by the way. And I couldn't get it to seal. It was just not happening. I mean, so I threw them in the box and I went into the next door shop there, and I cut a couple pieces of 1/2-inch plate out. That's either 1/2 inch or 3/8. I didn't measure it, but anyways, I put some holes in it on either side, on both of them, and I cut those all threads and tightened those to the plates, as you can see, and then just as you see it right now, and then locked it down with those. And what a difference! What a difference, man! I mean, that thing was leaking. What it does is, the main part it leaks at is the towards the back every single time. I don't know, but if they just made something like this right here in that kit, what a difference it has made, you know what I mean? And so anyways, it worked out great. What you do is you tighten that down, you pump up the reservoir I just showed you, and it keeps fluid going through it and pressure through the whole system. And just go around and crack all your bleeders, you know, one at a time. And then I just put this, where's it at? This thing here. Let me zoom out a little bit. And then you just crack the bleeder. I put that on first and then crack it so I don't have fluid spraying everywhere. And then you just let it do its thing. Now that thing there, it didn't come with the kit. I just used that to catch my fluid. It's kind of like this one. I made this one. Those are like one-man bleeders, is what they call them. So what that basically is a hose. You always start out with a little fluid in the bottom to keep the hose submerged. And you can literally put that over your bleeder, the other end, crack it loose, go in the car and just pump away. You don't need another person. Because when you pump it, it pushes it into the bottle, and then when you let off the pedal, no air goes back in the system. It's constant fluid, you know what I'm saying? So your bubbles come out of this end. All your air comes out of this end. And it's a great one-man bleeding system. But yeah, I made that one. I had an extra magnet from a light that I had saved from a light that broke, and just clipped that around the neck, and it works so good. But this thing here, it's the same thing. But only with this one, you put an air hose line on it, and you can squeeze that trigger, and this will literally, now that pulls, it'll suck air. It'll pull all your fluid into that. So it kind of, even if you want to like pull it first to get all your air out of the line with this thing, and once you see fluid coming, leave it all hooked up. Don't squeeze the air no more. Go in the car and start pumping. That works the same way. There is a line that goes from this head down inside there, and it's submerged in the fluid. Same way as that. But that one you can pull. So that's kind of a cooler deal there. But if you wanted to make one, that's all you got to do is make one like that. And they work great. You guys want to see some more on brake bleeding? We'll do a video, but just let me know, you know, in the comments there, if that's something you'd like to see. Then I could maybe show you all three of these in action. Because they all serve a different purpose. Because this one here, you pump it up, everything's fine and dandy. But if you have an ABS system, it doesn't work as well. You have to either activate the ABS with the scanner, or some guys take them out and they'll get the brakes somewhat good, and then they'll take the vehicle out into a safe parking lot somewhere or a field, and they'll get going, and they'll lock the brakes up so it slides in the gravel to activate the ABS pump. But you do that a couple times, and what that does is it gets the air out of the ABS module. And then you go back and refinish bleeding your brakes, and everything's perfect. Or you do it with the scanner and activate it as you're doing it in the shop, which is the safest way. But everybody doesn't have a scanner that does that. So you can do it without a scanner. So everything's good here. The brakes are good. I wanted to leave that on there to show you guys how that goes on and what I had to make yesterday to get that to stop sealing. It's loose right now if it looks a little crooked because I unloosened it. I didn't want to leave it tight all night and put a big indentation because there's a rubber pad underneath that top plate. And I don't know if you could see it or not. Whoops. Right underneath that, you see that black lip? It's like a rubber pad, and it seals against the master cylinder. So, but I didn't want to make a big, increase indentation in it, so I unloosened it last night. But so there it is, and that's how it works. And like once again, I didn't want to. You guys have probably seen 1,000 things on bleeding brakes. I did put the other gasket on this valve cover. I think I said that yesterday, and that's about it. So he ordered all new front end parts yesterday and shocks for front and rear, and that's going to be the last thing. I drove the car yesterday. It was I drove the car yesterday. Everything seemed good in it. The main big noise that we was hearing in the bottom, it's gone. I went ahead and changed the oil again and put the new oil in it with the Lucas additive. But before I changed it, I put in some mystery oil and seafoam, and I let it run for a couple days with that stuff in it before I did all that. And just to try to clean up anything that's maybe stuck in them lifters or whatever's going on there. Because yesterday when I changed it and drove the car, when I first started out, and now, guys, if you was to hear that, well, you guys kind of did hear it, but when this car first got here, the noise was so bad it sounded like a rod was knocking. So the main noises are gone, the ones from the flywheel and the one or two little lifters that are stuck and tapping or whatever's going on there. Because yesterday, like I said, once I changed it and drove it yesterday, and I got back here, I could literally tell after I drove it for about, I don't know, maybe 5 miles or so, and every time I come to a stop sign or something like that, you didn't hear nothing else no more. It was gone. And then when I got back here to pull it back on the lift to check everything, it wasn't ticking at all. It was completely gone. So I think the more he drives it and puts some miles on it, it'll clean or do what it's got to do to that. Now, if it doesn't, I'm going to talk to him and let him know. He has the motor that came out of this car, and before it blew up, I think it threw a rod or something like that. But before it blew up, he put new. I believe he put new roller rockers in it, push rods, and lifters. And I think that intake, because they put this intake on this new motor. Because when you buy these long blocks, they don't come with an intake. So he put that stuff on this motor. But anyways, and then that threw the rod, and then now it's been sitting. He still has that motor. So I'm going to tell him to drive this thing, and because I believe it'll finish going away for good. But if it doesn't, we can maybe rob the stuff out of that motor. Because he's trying to go to Good Guys here on the 12th, I think it is, or the 15th. It might be the 12th through the 15th. But he wants to go and take this car and just hang out there, at a car show, and trying to get it done for him so he can go. But I believe it's safe enough and good enough to drive the way it is. Like I said, it's a million times better. All the main issues are gone out of it. So, but he ordered all the front end parts yesterday, and I think he tried to second day them or something like that. Next day them or second day them. And once we get them, we'll button up the front end and do a 4-wheel alignment. What I do with these is, I've never showed it before, but how I align these cars, I string them. I string them all the way around, and I'll show you how precise I string them and set them. And believe me, when they're done, they drive straight, the wheel's straight, and it's really, really nice when you set them like that. And it's the same concept like when you take your car in to get it aligned at an alignment shop, but it's picking up the signal off the back heads that are on the back wheels to square it up. But when them guys take them things off and put them on the rack and stuff like that, they're banging them, and so every day they're out of alignment. They can say they calibrated them last week or whatever. It doesn't matter, because as soon as you calibrate them, the next guy is not going to be careful with it. It's banging around. You're constantly doing something with those heads, and it knocks them out so quickly. I used to have an alignment machine here, and in fact, that's why I got this lift for that reason back when I did all this. And it was the same thing. You could calibrate it, and as soon as you just barely bump that thing, it's off. I could set 3 alignments. Every one of them will be different. 3 alignments on the same car, every one will be different. So there is no truer way of doing it other than the way that I do them now, and I'll show you that when we do this car. So anyways, when we get the parts, I'll bring you guys back. We'll button that up. We'll get this thing buttoned up, and we'll go cruise it, get a, see how it feels and all that stuff, and get them cleaned up so you can go to that show. So, and I want to keep an eye on that valve cover over here. I only replaced that one, but this one's not leaking. And ever since I put that PCV valve on, the car's running better. It's breathing better. And even before I changed that gasket on this side, it quit leaking. It was just a little bit. But before that, you guys seen it. It was pouring out that day we came in and lifted it up on the lift. But so it was literally pushing it. What it done was on the front and on the back, right where the gasket's on the valve cover there, it pushed it in and separated it from the valve cover, in between the valve cover and the head, and made a gap in there. And the oil was coming out there and in the back. But like I said, once I sealed that, the only oil that was coming out was the little bit that was getting by. It wasn't being pushed out because of the pressure in the motor. So that changed a lot there. So all right, bring you guys back when the front end parts come. Sorry about the long conversation talk, but I wanted to talk and show you all that. Okay, we're gonna end this video here because the front end parts came, and that video is gonna be a video in itself. So, because I want to show you guys how to do this on your own if you wanted to align your car at home. It's pretty simple, and you can, when I'm showing you all the procedure of it, you'll see that you can use kind of different things to make what I'm going to be doing. I just sometimes just use jack stands, and you'll see when I do it, but it's pretty simple. Take your time and do it, and you guys can do it to any car. I do it to any, not just these old ones. I do it to newer cars. I do it to, doesn't matter. So, and I promise you, you guys would be shocked at what the results you'll get when you do this. But it's not a bad procedure. We're gonna do the front end parts too. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and watching these videos. Please keep sharing, subscribe if you haven't. Hit the like, a few comments if you can, please. It's going better. The channel's going a lot better, and it's getting there. So I want to do so much more on this channel. I got to do it full time.
Sure thing.
I want to keep stressing that because it's easy to just click through a video and not do anything, not like it, not share it, not do anything. Most people don't know what to do with them. You know what I mean? But that's just what it is. But if you guys want to help out, that's the best way to help this channel. Like I said before, it keeps the algorithm going, and we'll be able to do this and make some pretty cool stuff here in the near future. Thank you so much, guys. Until the next one, I'll see you real soon on this.